Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Annie Widya Ningsi. My student number is 33. In this meeting, our group will be present about genre-based text. There are 4 items that will be learned in this meeting. The first one is types of interpersonal text. The second one is types of transactional text. The third one is types of short functional text. And the last one is types of long functional text. The first one will be explained by me. Types of interpersonal text. Language as a social phenomenon has different functions such as textual, additional, and interpersonal. The interpersonal function of language involve communication strategies by which people maintain or establish good social relationship. Or people use language to help them establish social order and maintain good relations with other people. Interpersonal is also can be explained as a dialogue that we simply do because there is somebody around us. We speak for the sake of speaking itself. And there are so many functions of interpersonal. It can make us to get intimate, to kill the time, to talk as matter of politeness, to sustain or to keep the conversation long, and any other. This is the example of interpersonal text. There is a dialogue. Tom: Hi John, how are you? John: Hi Tom, I'm fine, thanks. How about you? Tom: I'm fine too. Nice to meet you. John: Nice to meet you too. The study was aimed at describing whether, by giving different time allocation for students to practice doing interpersonal conversation, can improve the student conversation skills. And there are 10 types of interpersonal text that we can do to teach the students. They are introducing, to help them introduce themselves to new people around them. Apologizing, thanking, sympathy, complimenting, congratulating, wishing good luck, expressing condolences, expressing care or concern, expressing happiness, disappointment, and boredom. That's all my explanation about types of interpersonal text. Okay, that's all my explanation about types of interpersonal text, and the next material will be delivered by Dian about types of transactional text.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rahma Dian Putri. My student number is 39. On this occasion, I would like to continue the material. I will explain about type of transactional text. Types of transactional text. Introduction. McCarthy asserts that language serves interactional and transactional functions. The former relates the function to establish social roles and relationship with other persons. In other words, the language is used as lubricant of social will. In transactional talks, people use language to achieve optimal and efficient transference information. As transactional talks are message-oriented, cohesive, and accurate communication is highly acquired. Third, premising. Premise is an utterance that the speaker commits to himself to the something in the future, and the thing premised must be the one that the hearer wants it to happen. A premise can be in the form of performative utterance, the utterance that actually describes the act that it performs, but a premise is not always in performative. For example, swear, I'll be on time. Fourth, threatening. Threatening is an utterance in which the speaker commits himself to do something in the future, but the thing which will be executed is the one that the hearer does not want to happen. For example, I'll tell mom that you broke my MP3 player. There are 8 types of transactional text. First, ordering or commanding. Ordering or commanding is an utterance which makes the hearer do something, and the thing being ordered or commanded is the thing that the speaker wants to happen. For example, shut down the computer and do your homework now. Second, requesting. Speech acts of request contain communicative intention in which the speaker asks the hearer to perform an action which is for benefit of the speaker. For example, leave me alone. Seventh, refusing. Refusing is an expression of rejection as response to initiating acts such as request, invitation, offer, and suggestion. For example, that's kind of you, thanks, but I rather use mine. And the last one is blaming. Blaming is an utterance expressed by the speaker to the hearer because the hearer is assumed to be responsible for the wrongdoing or bad condition. For example, you must be the one who broke it. You are alone at home today. Fifth, warning. Warning is an utterance to make the hearer knows that something bad or dangerous will happen to him or her. According to Austin, warning can be conveyed by both declarative and imperative utterance. For example, if you keep skipping the class, you'll fail this subject for sure. Sixth, complaining. Complain is an expression of displeasure or annoyance as a reaction to a past or ongoing action, the consequence of which affect the speaker unfavorably, and the complaint is addressed to the hearer, whom the speaker holds responsible for the offensive action. For example, I've been here for 30 minutes and you just cut my cue.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name is Galo Pramesti and it is my turn to explain about the types of short functional text. There are 11 types of this part, so I will explain in the next video. Types of short functional text. Short functional texts are types of informational text to help the information receiver or the readers to grasp the information quickly. So there are 11 types of short functional text. The first one is announcement. Announcement is a statement that addressed to public to provide information that something has happened or is going to happen. For example, is announcement about the Earth Day event. Then, advertisement. Advertisement is information which is the function to persuade the people. For example, is advertisement the products. And then memo. Memo is used to convey some basic information, particularly to persuade action, to issue a directive, or to provide a report. For example, is memo for the meeting. Then, invitation letters. Invitation letters is a type of letter which is written to invite a guest to a particular event or celebration. For example, is wedding's invitation letter. Then, label. Label is a term which refers to printed information that affixed on a particular article or a container of product. For example, is nutrition facts label. And then postcard. Postcard can be defined as a small, usually having a picture on one side, and space for a short message, on the other for sending a message by post without an envelope. For example, is vacation postcard. And then notice. Notice is a symbol or text to inform or instruct people to do or do not to do anything. For example, is not smoking sign. Next, command. Command is notice for the people for to do something. For example, is command for keeping the door up closed. And then the next is warning. Warning is type of text that mainly functions to warn people to be careful in doing something. For example, is warn for driving slowly. Next is information. Information is a fact that contained in some text. For example, is for staff only. It means that only the staff of the office that allowed to enter the room. And then prohibition. Prohibition is notifies people to not to do something. For example, is don't take a picture sign. It's mean that in the place that have this sign, that it's mean that people do not take a picture in this place.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Afaz Zafran and my student number is 51. And for the last material, it will be delivered by me. And for the last material, it is about types of long functional text. The term long functional text is rarely used in communication. This chapter used the term long functional text only to make the counterpart of the previous term. It is short functional text. Long functional texts are so called due not only to the length in writing, but also the process of interpreting which requires specific recognition of their structure and situation. Long functional texts are also classified on the basis of the intention of the communicator. Based on its communicative purposes, text varies in the course of its function, generic structure, language feature, vocabularies. To communicate purposes, one may construct text in specific structure and use certain linguistic feature in conjunction with particular vocabularies. And there are 6 types of long functional text. The first one is narrative text, the second one is recount text, the third is descriptive text, the fourth is procedure text, and the fifth is report text, and the last is explanation text. And then we move to the first long functional text. It is narrative text. As you can see in the PowerPoint, it shows text elements and the content. The first text element is orientation. It shows an introduction to the characters and setting of the events or story. The second text element is complication, events that lead to the climax. The content is the event which lead to the climax. It explores the conflict in the story. The sequence of event may include a description of events as they occur first, next, later, after, and sequence of events particular to each character, while, as, meanwhile, when, and one day. And the last element is resolution. It shows the situation in which the problem have been resolved, fail or succeed, and describe the ending relating to the main characters. Example, what they look like, sad or happy. And this is the example of narrative text. As you can see in the PowerPoint, I think you can just pause the video and see what is in orientation, events that lead to climax, and in the resolution. So we move to the second of long functional text. It is recount text. As you can see in the PowerPoint, the elements of this long functional text is, the first is orientation, the second events, the closing, and closing. The content in the orientation is information about an event and its setting. It provides details of who, what, when, where, or why. The events in these elements is a sequence of events which happen in a chronological order. What happened first, next, soon, during, after, later, eventually, and finally. And in the closing or reorientation, it is the conclusion of or summary of the events. What do you think, feel, or decide about the occurred events? And this is the example of recount text, just like the functional text before. You can pause the video and see what is in orientation, event, and reorientation. And then we move to the third types of long functional text, that is descriptive text. And this text, it is show the first is identification. It is an introduction to objects or things described, which includes who or what, when or where. Second elements in this text is description. A description of an object. For example, the color, the size, the smell, the taste, and the others. And for person, what they look like, what they do, how they act, what they like or dislike, what makes them special. For something, how it looks, sounds, feels, smells, or tastes. Where it is seen or found, what it does, how it is used, what it makes special. And then, this is the example of descriptive text. Just like before, I think you can pause the video and see what is in the identification and the description. And then we move to the fourth types of long functional text, that is procedure text. It is include title, then goals, a brief description of what will be done, and the second is materials needed, a list of what are needed, which may include ingredients, utensils, materials, tools, and the others. And the last is steps to accomplish, what has to be done, including diagrams or pictures if needed. And this is the example of procedure text. And then we move to the next long functional text, that is report text. In this text, the elements of this text is, the first is general statement. It is include definition, classification, or a brief description. And then the second element is description. The description of the topic, which tells about the important facts about the subject. And here's the example of procedure text. And then we move to the last types of long functional text, that is explanation text. In this text, the elements of this text is, the first is general statement. It is stating the issues. And the second is sequence explanation, stating a series of steps which explain the phenomena. And you can see the example of explanation text here. So I think that's all for my material. Thank you.